Welcome to Rising Woman Leaders. I'm your host, Meredith Rom, and I believe the time has come for women to share their gifts, their voice, and their stories. I love seeing women spiritually and financially empowered, thriving in their life's work, and doing what they love every day. I've gathered a community of women living their dreams to tell us their stories and inspire us to step into more courage, self-love, and feminine leadership. If you like this podcast, follow me on Instagram at Rising Woman Leaders and sign up for email updates at risingwomanleaders.com. Now get cozy with a journal and a cup of tea. I hope you enjoy today's show. Hello and welcome to a new year of Rising Woman Leaders. We are nearing 4 years of being live and on the air, and I want to take a moment of gratitude to thank every single one of you for being here and bringing so much meaning to my life and to my work through this podcast. Truly, it has been an honor to hold space for this podcast, to learn from all the guests we've had, and to share it all with you. I thought I would start off this new year with sharing my popular masterclass from last year, all about how to live 2019 fulfilled. This audio was taken from a live video class, so you'll probably hear that at different points I'm interacting with the audience and reading through the chat box. This free class is really a taste of what I'll be diving into and sharing with the women who will be joining me in this year's The Sovereign Circle. So this is a 9-month feminine leadership initiation program that begins on February 6th. There are going to be 2 video calls a month with sister circles and wisdom sharing and different teachings I'll be sharing throughout the program. Everyone in the group also receives private coaching. At the time of sharing this episode, there are only a couple spaces left. So if you feel interested, visit risingwomanleaders.com for all the info. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy the masterclass. All right, so let's take a moment to center in. Invite you to close your eyes and soften into your breath. Fully exhale out all the air in the body. Take a full deep breath in. And let it out through the mouth. Just creating this sacred space for yourself today. Transitioning from whatever you were doing earlier. Deep breath in. And becoming more present to this moment. Slowly let it out through the mouth. Deep breath in. And let it out through the mouth. And let's return to normal breathing and welcome your awareness down into the center of your heart. How is your heart feeling today? Just tuning in. Feel your spine grow long. Ground down into your sitting bones. Soften all the muscles of the face. Tune into this moment. So an invitation of the sacred feminine is of empty presence. What would it look like and feel like to empty myself? To create more space to receive today. And although many of us may not know each other, we are coming together today to weave a web of sisterhood. And I invite you to imagine in your mind's eye that these women here today are here fully to support you. And to imagine that circle, that web of sisterhood, of holding each other's hands to be that support for you to explore your highest potential for this coming year. And I want you to imagine as if another woman in this circle turned to you and looked right into your eyes and said to you, "Sister, I see you. I honor you. And I welcome you to the circle today. And see if you can really let that in and let that permeate your being of what it feels like to be seen, to be received, to be fully welcomed here. And in this space, I'll call forth our guides, our angels, our protectors, all the benevolent forces that wish to support us today in using this time for the highest and best good. May we be open to that wisdom, insight, whatever is needed for you on your soul's growth path of ascension. And I declare this space today to be safe and to be sacred, a space where you can explore your potential, to let go of limiting beliefs and fears and really tap into a sense of fulfillment of what I'll be sharing today. So let's do one more collective breath, deep inhale. And slowly let it out through the mouth. Beautiful. So I mentioned before starting this recording just to what can you ask yourself what I can do to be fully present in this space. So if you want to close your other browsers or turn your phone on airplane mode, you can take a moment to do that. And as I shared, today is an invitation for you to explore your highest potential for 2019. And what I'm going to be sharing, just an overview, are the 6 principles or secrets to tap into true fulfillment, peace, and lasting joy. A step-by-step process to align with your intentions for the new year, and then how to actually take those tangible steps to manifest them. I'm going to share some of the most common forms of resistance and self-sabotage when it comes to stepping into our dreams and our highest potential. And I'll also be giving you an insider's look into next year's Sovereign Circle program that I'll be leading in February. So why did I create this? Every once in a while, I decide to do one of these webinars. And the inspiration for this was that I realized that so many of our desires are actually coming from the outside. That our programming, our conditioning, the sense of commercialism and advertising that we're always seeing in our lives can really start to form a lot of our desires. And it creates these stories of what we think we should have in our life, what we think we should accomplish. I'm seeing a lot of women out there saying, well, I need to have the 6-figure business or the perfect family or the big home or any of these goals that we think will fill ourselves up. And often what happens is that we can get to that place, and then there's this sense of emptiness that follows. That sometimes when we reach a goal or fulfill a desire or attain something outside of ourselves, very often we are left with this feeling of emptiness. And it was this feeling of emptiness, which can really be unbearable sometimes, is what led me to be a seeker. And it led me to ask these deeper questions and to really tune into my heart and ask, what is out there that's more than this? And I had a moment this year when I was feeling this sense of emptiness, and it led to these 6 secrets that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I had accomplished some of my biggest dreams that I've been really holding for a long time. And that sense of emptiness really asked me to correct my course and ask those deeper questions. What did I really want that would bring me and others this sense of fulfillment? And if you're here today, I really believe that you are probably here for that something deeper, that your soul is seeking to express itself, that your whole being is open, wanting that sense of true soul fulfillment. And I think more than ever, we really need all of us. We need your leadership. We need your courage. We need your voice in your dreams. And we need you in that space of what would it look like to look into something deeper than the material, something that would expand your heart to the size of the room and really open you up to that power of true fulfillment. So my intention today is to share the insights that I've been having around this, and so that you can intentionally design a fulfilling new year and really make the impact that your soul came here in this life to make. So let's start with what is fulfillment, because often we think of happiness, and I think there's a really key difference between happiness and fulfillment. And happiness can be much more focused on the transitory, how we're feeling moment to moment. And in a landscape of constantly changing emotions, happiness can quickly dissipate. It's transitory, it comes and goes. And fulfillment, on the other hand, it's something much deeper. It comes not only from making a difference in our own life, but also in making a difference in the lives of other people. So let's take a moment and reflect on this past year, see where we've been, where we are in this moment, where we're going. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, and I'll guide you through a meditation. And we'll go back in time, weaving our way back to the beginning of January 2018. Take a moment, see if you can remember where you were, who you were with when that new year rang in, what you were learning at that time, if you were traveling, if you were home, the lessons you were learning, the dreams and the aspirations you were holding. And I'll just walk you through the first few weeks of January, the shorter winter days, the longer nights, and where you were at that time in your life. What were the desires you were holding? Where were you grasping or clutching on? Where were you celebrating or really expansive? How was your health, your body, your home? And we'll move into the month of February, just seeing what you can remember in that winter season. Moving our way through the end of the month, any milestones that happened, going into March, the rains, the spring, the seeds starting to blossom, the spring equinox. Seeing if you can remember where you were, any places you may have traveled, any places you were feeling excited, any places you were feeling held back. Moving into April, that spring season, the months starting to be warmer. Where you were, what you were learning. Taking a moment to reflect on the month of May. And slowly moving our way into the summer months of June, the summer solstice. Any uncertainty you were having in your life, any people that you were spending time with. Moving into July, any big transitions, any deep heart's longings or yearnings, any wisdom or insight that you were cultivating at that time. And feeling into the month of August, those long days, any travel that you may have gone on. how you are spending your time, any work, any vacations. Moving into September, the harvest season, the autumn, the equinox, the days starting to become shorter. Where was I at this time in my life, in my location? Moving into October, the autumn, Halloween, and into November. If you were affected by the fires, what you were learning at that time. And then even just reflecting on the past couple weeks, where you've been, where you've traveled to, who you've seen or visited, all the way back into this moment in time and where you are right now. And I invite you, if you were to create an essence, if 2018 had one or two, maybe three words of what it was that you learned or that you cultivated, or that maybe some of those things are challenging, but what would that be? The essence of 2018. And if you have words coming to your mind, I invite you to share them in our chat box, and we'll just see what some of the other women were experiencing this year. So to access the chat box, you just go to the bottom of the screen, and there's a little thing that says chat, and that will open up. So for me, when I reflect on 2018, the words that came to mind were love. I got married this year, and that was a big step. And initiation, because there were a lot of moments of challenge with change and with growth and with stepping into new levels of my empowerment. I was initiated as a priestess this year. I had the wedding ceremony. There were a lot of big things in that area. So some of what you are all sharing, Ashley says motherhood. Amber says magical, transformational. Heather says trust, compassion, embodiment. Madison shared digging deep, roots, devouring, blossoming, growing. Lauren says the words that come to mind were grief and transformation, evolving, trusting, unfolding. From Vicky, rejection, boundaries, compassion. Sarah, transformation, definitely. Motherhood and growth. Vanessa shared death, letting go, healing, unknown, longing, pain, new relationships, heart and mind battles. Mm-hmm. And Lauren also said love, cracking open to love. Beautiful. Okay, so yeah, all different places in the spectrum that we've been experiencing this year. And I'd love to take a moment now to just tune back in and come into that essence that you are planting for 2019. If you look into this space of potential, of what it is that you are stepping into, that you can create, what would that be? And I'll share what comes to my mind is grace. And a lot of the lessons I've been invited into and learning right now are, how can I offer up my own will and my own personal agendas of what I think will make me happy, and actually give that to the divine, and really allow more of that grace into my life, and let go of grasping to really see what wants to catalyze. Um, Another word I might say for 2019 is mastery, and especially around my teaching, coming back to my yoga teaching, learning new knowledge, growth in that area, stepping more into teaching, leading workshops, all of that. So anything you want to share in the chat box about 2019, you're welcome to see some of the essences that the other women are planting seeds for. Okay, so with this idea and this definition that I shared around fulfillment, around how shifting our happiness from being something of always asking, how can I be happy, into how can I make someone else happy? And so with this, I have a couple journaling questions for you. The first is, what is a problem that I see in society that I feel drawn to help? What is a problem I see in the world that I feel drawn to help and to give back to? And how can I be in that service of that? Let's give you a minute to reflect on that. What is a problem I see in society, and how could I be of service to that? What is something I feel drawn naturally to help, to give back? The second journaling question is, what brings me true joy? What are those things that light your heart up? Whatever first comes to your mind, what brings me true joy? When do I enter a sense of timelessness? When does it feel like time disappears? And that's a real sign that we're tapping into something that we want to cultivate and bring more of into our lives, that we're entering into this new zone of our genius, when we can lose a sense of time. When does that happen for me? Maybe dancing or being creative or being with someone you love. And the fourth question, this is the final question for now. When was I the happiest in my life? Reflecting on that. When was I the happiest in my life? What was I doing with my body? Where was I located? What were the qualities of that time of my life that just felt really nourishing? Nice. And I'm just checking in with the chat box, a few essences that we're planting this year from Amber. I want to love wholeheartedly. I want to be a healer. And from Vanessa, lead and live from my heart. Those are beautiful intentions. So I'm going to go into sharing now about these 6 principles, these 6 secrets to tap into our fulfillment. And feel free to take notes as I go. If you have things come up, you can put them in the chat box, and I will check in with that every so often. But starting with these principles, the first one that came to my mind was giving of your time and energy without expecting anything in return. So the times in my life that I have been at Amma's ashram in India, we are all invited to do seva. And seva is selfless service. I've done all kinds of seva, from cleaning and chopping vegetables to working with the garbage in the recycling center. And what I found in these places where we were invited into doing the seva, when we are giving from our heart like that and not expecting anything in return, I found the happiest people in those places were the ones who were doing the most seva. They were like just in their heart. And what I see from that is that it gives you something in return. We may not necessarily think of that as like going out and, working in what comes to mind is like taking out the trash or whatever that is. We may not think that would have a sense of fulfillment, but if we're doing this sense of seva, of giving from our heart, helping other people, contributing to something greater than ourselves, that can create a real sense of tapping into that. And I have a story about this. So 6 years ago, I was living in Berkeley, and I met a person who was starting a yoga company, and he was starting to bring people to, he was organizing all the structure around bringing people to farms and bringing in different teachers and connecting people with the land. And then he was creating retreats. And I just thought what he was doing was so great. It was so in his dharma. I wanted to help. And I offered my time and my energy to take photos for one of these retreat days on a farm. And I really didn't expect anything in return. It was just like, wow, this is so great. Getting to be here on this day, offering of my time, asking how I could help. And what ended up happening on that day, not only did I meet 2 women at that day-long retreat who had just graduated from the School Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And that was my first time hearing about this program. And I ended up taking that program, which started the whole beginning of my career as a coach, as learning the tools for starting my own business, for setting the whole foundation of the course that I am now on. So that was just one piece. But 6 years later, just a few weeks ago, when I was planning my honeymoon and I was going to go to Italy, and I was looking at possible retreats I could go to in Italy, and I start searching on Google, and I'm like, Italy retreat, October, putting in all the keywords, kirtan, yoga, all the things I would want in this retreat. And this retreat came up, and it was through the company that my friend had started like 6 years ago. He was continuing with the business. And I saw that, I knew the person who was leading that retreat. I reached out to her, sent her a text message, which is saying, I'm thinking about attending this. And we had a conversation back and forth. A few days after that, she texted me to say, something came up. I'm not able to lead the retreat. Would you want to teach it for me? And because I had known the person who started this company and been so selfless in my giving at that time, it was like, I didn't even realize it in that moment. But basically, I got to lead the 7-day retreat in this villa with my partner, with this amazing group. I got to teach yoga. It was just like this dream come true. I don't even know how it happened, but I was there one day and was just like, oh, wow, it really landed for me. That time you were just giving so selflessly from your heart led to all of this. So that's just a little story of what we could expect and from doing this in our life. And if we can do it without expectations, I think is that real key element. So the second secret is to be somebody's angel when they don't expect it. So Deepak Chopra says that one of the quickest ways to experience a deeper sense of fulfillment is to take your focus off, how can I be happy? And instead ask, how can I make someone else be happy? So there was a time in my life when I was really getting into tithing. And tithing is giving a portion of your money to places that spiritually nourish you. And choosing people and places that would never expect it. And in the beginning, it was like so wonderful and like giving away money into these people and places and people being like, wow, so unexpected. But what ended up happening for me here, and I think that people can get tripped up in this, is that sometimes when we are doing that, it's easy to get caught in the expecting something in return. So like giving the money because it's like the idea is I'm going to get so much more in return. And we can get kind of stuck in this place. And I was having a conversation about this with a group of women and a teacher of mine, Marin, and I see Feather here, who I think was in the group that day, when Marin shared that instead of like needing to give in order to expect something in return. Just be really aware of times in your life when you feel like the goddess taps you on the shoulder and says, like, be an angel for this person. And whether that be you see someone in a tight financial situation, or you see someone who's like really wanting something but doesn't know how to make it work, or maybe it's even just giving of your time. Someone, maybe a new mom who hasn't been able to cook for herself in weeks, just whatever that is. Like, who are the people in my life that I could give to without expecting anything in return? And I can share from experience those moments when I have been someone else's angel. My heart has expanded to the size of the room. It's one of the best feelings ever. And it really is that sense of fulfillment that we can't necessarily get from just going after what we think would make ourselves happy. Okay, so I'm going to go to number 3. And if you have questions, just hold on to them. There'll be some space at the end. But number 3 is connecting to a greater mission and finding a way to be in service to it. So if you're here today, I imagine that there is something greater than yourself that you feel called to be of service to. And again, this goes with this element of taking our focus off of ourselves and stepping into something we deeply care about. Some of the happiest and most fulfilled people I know are the ones who have these huge visions, that they are working towards something, that they know they're creating a better world through that vision. People that are working towards solutions for climate change, or for creating intentional communities, or things that they might not even be able to see the results from right away, but something that's like going to be taking a bigger vision, something they're contributing to in the world. So asking ourselves, what is the greater mission that I feel called to be of service to? And another real insight I've been having is that our true happiness, our true sense of fulfillment is not necessarily in realizing our dreams, realizing the desires, but being in the anticipation of them. And when I can be working towards something continually that is so much greater than myself, there is always going to be that sense of fulfillment, that willingness to not know and to be working towards something greater. So number 4 actually relates to this, because often when we are working towards something, there's a lot of unknown. And the unknown is one of the hardest places, I think, to be in. For myself, at least, it's one of the hardest places. And this is really the invitation of the feminine, the invitation of making peace with the mystery. So number 4, the principle is making peace with the mystery. And this is the willingness to be with the unknown and allowing the truth of each moment to unfold without needing to push or force it. So I realized recently that there were 2 ways that I could see the unknown. I could see it as a source of my anxiety, even a sense of depression, or I could see this space as ultimate potential, the place where all creation manifests, the dark womb of the mother. And it's in that space of ultimate potential that when we flip it to that other side of, wow, I could create anything from this space, in the unmanifest, in the mystery, in the patience of not knowing, in that cosmic space of infinite potential. How could we see the beauty in the anticipation and the seductiveness in the mystery, in the unknown? So easier said than done. How do we actually do that? One of the ways that I found is meditation. Because if I can sit in meditation for 10 minutes and be willing to hold myself in my mind, wanting to go into the past, wanting to go into the future, wanting things to be different than they are right now, if I can hold myself in that space and like just really be patient with it, I begin to work this muscle of holding myself in the unknown. And it begins to become a lot easier in the daily life of how to hold ourselves in that mystery. Number 5 is willingness to feel our pain. So I really do believe that when we are holding our pain, our discomfort at arm's distance, we're also really holding our true joy, our true sense of fulfillment at that arm's distance as well. And when we're willing to really let that in and to feel those dark places and to go into the pain or the difficulty of what is without needing to numb ourselves out, without needing to go to the distractions like sugar or alcohol or drugs, or in today's world, our phones or social media or TV or Netflix. And of course, sometimes doing those things can be nice and comforting, but asking ourselves, am I avoiding something that really wants to be felt here? And what would it look like for me to hold myself in that and to go into that feeling practice and to feel everything that's here? And what I've found when I just go right into those places, that is the way for it to evolve. That is the way of giving it the space to transform into something else. And from that place, we also really welcome in the full spectrum of life, our deepest joy, our deepest fulfillment. Okay, number 6 is holding a vision and releasing attachments to the outcome. So I mentioned this year that I got married, and I really think about the wedding. It was something that I held in my mind for years. I had an idea of it was going to look a certain way, it was going to feel a certain way, and play it over in my mind. And it was completely different. And if I had been attached to the outcome of what it needed to look like and like grasping onto that, then I would have been miserable. And so much of what I learned going through that process was surrendering and letting it go and being open to something totally different and unexpected to come forth. So the mantra, the song that I was singing, it's Alexa Sunshine Rose, and she sings a song. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. And I was singing that like all day and through that whole weekend of just how can I continue to release my grip, release control around what's happening and really let in what is here. So releasing our attachments to the outcome, however that works for you. Maybe you go to the ocean and give some offerings, or you go on a run or do something to just have that sense of letting go of that tight grip on how things need to look. So I'm going to share 2 more bonus secrets that I thought of just in the last couple of days that I wanted to bring in, and then I'm going to check in with the chat box. But number 7, a bonus one, is continually being in your learning and your growth. So when we approach life from this being a beginner or opening our eyes to what is around us, we can see our soul is always wanting to continue to grow and evolve. And it's in the places where we can get stagnant, where that can start to feel suffocating. So asking yourself, how can I keep learning? How can I keep growing? What is my next growing edge? That also brings in a real deep sense of fulfillment. And number 8, another bonus one, is expanding your support in community and especially in sisterhood. In creating those like-minded space with other women where you can share your dreams, or you can share your full self, your ambitions, and have a place where you're accepted as you are and supported as you are. And this is so much of what I create in the programs that I offer for women, at safe space to come together and to see like, yeah, you're fully accepted here. You're fully seen here. This is a space to share those deepest parts of yourself that you may not feel comfortable sharing with others, or sometimes it takes having that intimate, safe, sacred space in order to share in that sense of fulfillment. So I'm just going to check in with the chat box, see some of the things that you're saying here. Alchemy, staying curious in the present, melding all the new material I've learned to make it accessible to others. Beautiful. More intentions for this year. Selflessly giving and seva while not getting lost in caretaking or making your value all about giving. Totally. I'm going to be talking about the Queen and sharing about boundaries very soon. Twos in the Enneagram can get lost in that. Yes. Yes. And then great insight about allowing naturally and receive. Yes. Thank you, Vanessa. Okay. So we're going to be visioning 2019 a little more, but first I want to tell you about that archetype of the Queen. So I see the Queen as this embodiment that we can step into. The Queen I see as someone who is sovereign and boundless and free, and she says yes to her power. She knows she is powerful, and she says yes to that power because she knows she can be of such great service to the people she is here to serve when she says yes to that. And the Queen is also someone who takes supreme care of herself, because she knows in that place of taking supreme care of herself, she can give generously from that place of overflowing. So the Queen is not afraid of her power. She uses it in service to her people. She doesn't make herself small for other people to feel comfortable. She's not afraid to take up space. She uses that space to inspire and activate others. She knows what she stands for, and she lives in alignment and integrity with it. She values who she is, and she owns her unique brilliance. She knows she's not perfect, and she learns from her lessons. She's willing to take responsibility for those places where she may have made a mistake, but then she forgives herself. She's not going to hold that over her head. She comes from a place of abundance rather than lack. And she practices fierce self-care, and she can hold her boundaries. So again, I want to invite us to come into this meditative space and for you to connect with your inner Queen, your highest self, this woman within you that you are becoming, that you know is inside of you, that powerful essence. And I'm going to ask you a few questions from that space. If you are embodying, becoming, allowing this essence of the Queen in your being, if I had no fear, what would I be or do? Just seeing what comes to your mind. If I had no fear, if I knew I could not fail, what would I be or do? If I had as much money as I needed, if I had millions of dollars, $100 million in the bank, what would I be or do? And tapping into that deeper part of yourself. Not needing to base it on money, not needing to base it on other people's expectations. And the last question, if I only had 6 months to live, what would I be or do? So you can take a moment if you want to write anything down from that. Okay, and now we're going to get a little bit more into the goals and the more practical side of the things we actually want to tangibly manifest this year. So if you were to choose your top 3 to 5 business or career goals for 2019, what would they be? The top 5 business or career goals for 2019, the things. And also you can think of this, the thing that you want to be of service to, that greater mission or problem that you see that you want to give back to, that might be part of that too. Okay. And the next session is going to be, what are my top 5 personal goals? So personal goals might be more like around your meditation practice, or maybe you want to go on a vacation. Maybe you want to go on a trip with your girlfriends. Maybe you want to, like one of my personal goals is I want to learn to be a great drummer. I want to be taking drumming classes. So just what are those things that light your heart up in this coming year? What are the 5 personal goals that you would want to step into or manifest, create for yourself? And if anyone wants to share a business goal or a personal goal in the chat box, we'd be happy to hear and celebrate you and just, cheer you on with that. So that space is open anytime you want to just pop in with one of your personal goals or business goals for this coming year. What that might look like. Maybe there's a new offering you'd like to share. Vanessa says start to share services online. Wonderful. Reaching the people that are here to learn from you. And personal goal, self-care. Yeah, do you want to get even more specific what that could look like? Is it like going to yoga classes or taking more baths or steam rooms? What would that look like? Loving myself more. Beautiful. Vicki shared a business goal, create life skill workshops to teach students and the public. Would love to learn more about that, Vicki, and let me know when you start. Olivia says, personal care for me is really allowing myself to budget towards, a lot of times I say no because of cost. Great. So creating a budget towards your self-care. Amber says, business, I had a vision in this visualization of helping women bring children into this world. Beautiful. Really connecting with that, seeing that, what that could look like, what that could feel like. And Heather share a business goal, finish creating my online academy for, Feather. Yeah. I just made that connection. Finish create, because I was like, Tao Tantric Women's Health Fall Retreat for Women on the Big Island of Hawaii. Amazing. Yes. Love to see that happen. Beautiful. So we are going to I sent out these 2 PDFs, and if you're able to print them out this week, that's a great help. But you see it has the different blocks with the months of the year. The first one, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So all the way to December. Now, what I do here when I am looking into the new year and creating these new goals and visions is to begin to put them into the calendar. So really looking of like, what could this look like of putting this into the month of November? And of course, this is not set in stone, but it can start to make us see where are the places I can begin to plan for, where I can actually take those steps forward. It's really powerful to share this with another woman in your life, someone that you can have some accountability with. And I sent out this ideal schedule PDF, which is more of the days of the week and the times of the day. So for some of your bigger dreams, you're going to need to break it down into time so that you can implement into your week. So for example, let's say someone here has a dream of publishing a book. So we could take that into, okay, let's begin to design the weekly schedule. First, I like to put in those self-care pieces of like, what are the classes I want to go to? What time can I block off just for myself to have the self-care? But then asking like, what are the places that I might need to block off time for in order to create some of these bigger dreams? So I might set like a 3-hour window on Monday mornings to work with my book idea or whatever the project that I'm working on. And the other thing you can do in your ideal schedule is start to block off the things that you know you have to do every week. So you know that you'll be making lunch or doing laundry or whatever those other pieces is. Maybe you want to do gardening. And then I block off the times, like in an ideal world, if I were to be seeing clients, what times of day would I want to be seeing them? And I block off those times. And then when it comes to welcoming a new client into a program, I already have an idea of when I would want that to fit in. So this, working with the vision roadmap and the ideal schedule, this is something that you can go into a lot more on your own. I have a few more things I want to share here before we close up our webinar today. So I'm going to keep talking, but feel free to start to work into your calendar of these bigger goals into breaking them down into the smaller steps. So when it comes to taking these bigger steps in our life, when we are really claiming being an intentional creator, there are very common forms of resistance and self-sabotage that can come up. And I'm going to share about 3 of these that I see very commonly. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in many of my clients. The first one is simply the stress response, which is a survival mechanism. It's basically anytime we step into unfamiliar territory, our brain goes into this place of fight, flight, or freeze. We want to either run away, we want to maybe get really controlling and micromanage every aspect of that project or that dream, or maybe we just freeze and say, I don't know, I can't move forward, I don't know how to do this, I'm not sure. Those are all examples of what our mind can go into. And so it's really helpful to know that this pretty much happens anytime we go into unfamiliar territory. And it was a mechanism that was helpful for us in ancient times of like when we needed to run away from the tiger or whatever it was. But in our present reality, we're a lot safer and we don't necessarily need to stay in those places. Something else I really see when these stress responses come up, often they can be triggered from an early trauma, something that happened early in childhood, where maybe we perceived a threat, or we had a sense of surprise or shock, or we had a sense of isolation or helplessness. And that trauma, even trauma, can be any moment in time that never fully resolved itself. And so when I work with people one-on-one, we really take that into account. Yes, we have the accountability piece, we have the moving forward. But if you're getting to a place and it's like there's this little girl inside who's putting the brakes on and you can't move forward, we really work with that. And we do a lot of the inner child work. We work with the subconscious beliefs. We examine what is there. And I use a lot of work with EFT tapping. So if you're not familiar with that, it's tapping on the meridian points to help the brain soften that fight, flight, freeze response and to come into a more permeable place where we can begin to see new perspectives, release limiting beliefs, and see new potentials. And so that's the first one, the stress response. The second common form of self-sabotage that can happen is upper limits. So there's this great book. It's called The Big Leap. I recommend it if you want to learn all about upper limits. But an upper limit is basically what happens when we are unable to sustain a positive flow of energy in our life. I'll give you an example. Let's say we make a lot of money, a lot more money than we're used to making. It might be that that is uncomfortable and we're not able to sustain that level of positivity. And so our subconscious will start working and finding ways to get rid of it so that we can go back into that comfortable place. So an example could be that we, spend the money right away, or our car breaks down, or something happens where it's like the money came in and it goes right out. So what we can do to really focus on is how can we expand our capacity for receiving abundance, love, and success. And so even in a moment right now of just feeling love in your chest, in your heart, letting that into your body, even practicing receiving compliments, letting them in, really letting them permeate into your being can be ways of sustaining greater and greater capacities of abundance, love, and success. Also working with your belief structures and working with the subconscious, like with the tapping, what I shared before, really powerful ways to tap into those moments when you can almost like create a picture of in your mind of those moments when you've had the success, or really feeling into that future self of what you want to create and letting it feel and resonate into your body. So I'll just share some of the most common upper limits. If we start receiving more success, abundance, or love than we're used to, one of the main things we can start doing is worrying. We'll start worrying about things. We'll criticize someone we love and stop the flow of energy. We will sometimes hide significant feelings that we're having. We will sometimes get sick or hurt or tell a lie, not tell the significant truth. Or what I said before was deflecting, not letting compliments in. Those are all signs of I'm not allowing or comfortable with letting in more abundance, love, or joy in my life. And so another way we can work with this, because I will share, these can sometimes be unavoidable. I think we all have upper limits. We all get into that place where it's a little uncomfortable and things can happen at any moment. And what we can do is just start being aware of that. It's oh wow, things were going really good. And then I did that thing to stop the flow of energy. And how can I be lighthearted about that and humorous about it and playful with it and be wow, that's really funny. I wasn't able to sustain that level of peace or joy in my life. I'll give you a funny example. So it was last week, my partner and I were really wanting to play music together. And so we got out our instruments. I got some cacao, we set the space. I was starting to play the singing bowl. My partner was playing the harmonium and we're singing together, and we're starting to get into these greater and greater states of joy. Wow, we haven't done this in so long. This is so great. And at one moment, my partner said, wait, this isn't sounding right. Stop what you're doing. And I was playing the crystal bowl, and he's no, something is off key. We have to fix this. He starts going into this mode of trying to fix whatever was happening. And I immediately went into this place of oh my God, I just want to have fun and I'm being blocked. And I started feeling triggered from that. And I turned my hand and suddenly I spilled the cacao all over my sheepskin rug. And I was just I looked at all of this and we needed to take a moment of just being alone to recollect. And I was cleaning the space, and we were wow, what just happened there? Is it possible that we were short-circuiting on how much love and abundance we were feeling, and just like created this whole situation that needed to stop it. And so then we laughed and we're like, oh, of course, we can just let that go and come back into the space and start again. So that's an example of just being lighthearted with our upper limits. Okay, so the third one, unconscious agreements. And this is something that can happen when we're a child, especially if we have a sibling or a friend or someone in our life that shows that that it hurts them in a way when you shine. So a lot of this can happen with, we can carry a belief of like, my shining will hurt someone in some way. Or if my friend felt small when I was shining as a little girl, and you may not even consciously remember it, but sometimes we can hold that, like, I need to stay small so that other people are safe and comfortable. And when we reflect back on the queen is someone who does not make herself small for others to be comfortable. And she is willing to look at the other people in her life as totally capable. And that if someone else gets triggered by us stepping into our greatness, that's actually good. That's actually them being called into their greatest growth and evolution. And she sees that person as capable rather than someone she has to protect. So taking a moment to ask yourself, are there any unconscious agreements I might be holding around shining or really being in my brightness? And some other tools you can do is just simply journaling about it, becoming aware of these unconscious agreements. You can do cord cutting, which is in your mind to visualize that person where you may have created an agreement with and cutting those cords. Even just simply declaring to the universe or creating a ritual of, I am cutting away these unconscious agreements so that I can really step into my shining and my true potential. All right. So I'm going to take a moment to ask if there are any questions. You're welcome to bring those up in the chat box. And I also want to invite each of you to think about this coming year. You've started to think about your dreams, your goals, what you're stepping into. And this masterclass I created today was really here as a stepping stone for you to step greater into those dreams. And I also know that for a lot of us, there are two missing ingredients of why we get stuck or why we can't move forward or why we haven't been able to create what we want to create. And I see those two ingredients that can be so common that we're missing are the first, accountability, having someone there or a group of people there who are seeing you in your greatness and holding you accountable to your word. And then the second one is support, and that can look like guidance, especially for those places when we get into unfamiliar territory, when we confront belief structures or ways of knowing that we're no longer wanting to hold. Having that guide of someone who's done it before and held you through that initiation is so helpful when it comes to crossing new thresholds. So for those of you that are interested in stepping into that support this year, my invitation for you today is to think about joining us for the Sovereign Circle. And I'm going to be leading this starting in February in 2019. And this will be my third time leading this program. And it's 9 months long. I'm going to take a moment to share my screen and switch into that for you. But I'll just let you know that the idea for this program really came from connecting with the essence of the Queen, that sovereign, boundless, free being, that woman who was taking supreme care of herself, saying yes to her power, and doing that in that service to humanity so that she could really create and embody what she wants to be in this life. And so in this program, over 9 months, we go through a journey of the chakras, and we end the program with a ceremonial call where each woman is witnessed in stepping into life as her highest self and actually sharing her vows to her mission, her vows to herself, her vows to the people she wishes to support, her vows to her self-care. And it is so powerful when we create that space for each other, to be witnessed and to have that ritual and to have that reclaiming. And I'm going to also answer the questions in a moment, but I'm going to switch into a screen share. Okay, so I think what you should be seeing, oh, there we go. You should be seeing my screen now. This webpage is risingwomanleaders.com, and this is where all the info for the program is. This is a feminine leadership initiation, a high priestess sisterhood for you to embody and become your highest self. This is a program only for 12 women. And as I started sharing about it in my newsletter the last couple of weeks, we already have many women interested and a couple people, one who have already signed up, ready to go. And I'm opening the enrollment officially today for women to step into the space of expansion, expression, service, and claiming their sovereignty. So just to take you through a little bit of what the curriculum includes. Each month, we have a wisdom teaching that I send out to the group, an audio recording that is based on the different themes of these chakras, so that you can look at all areas of your life and really become to see what you want to clear away, what you want to embody, how you want to hold your body wellness, all these different areas, which I'll go through in a moment, to really claim that sovereignty. We have a sisterhood video call every month. We have a guest mentor call each month, and everyone gets a 75-minute private coaching session with me. And that's really the space where you can work on your personal goals, your personal ambitions, whether that be starting a business or working on some of the limiting beliefs or healing past traumas that you've been holding that are you feel might be holding you back from really stepping into your full expression. The first month, we have our introductions, our intentions, connecting with their higher self. We'll go into the root chakra, where I invite people into a process of clearing out the clutter of your home, making space for your dreams, tapping into greater self-love. The sacral chakra, femininity, looking at our sense of creativity and sensuality, practices to heal the womb. The solar plexus, our sense of worthiness, and looking at our relationship to money, embodying our self-worth, releasing limiting beliefs. Heart chakra, all about love, relationships, practices for deeper communication. Throat chakra, voice, speaking our truth, honoring our voice with authenticity, writing and sharing our stories, learning practices for singing and for speaking, refining our service and our contribution. The third eye is all about inner knowing, intuition, dreams. The crown is connection to the divine. And then our soul star chakra is the month where we will have that ceremony of being witnessed as our higher selves. So I have some testimonials up here from past women who've done this program. This is very much a program of stepping in and honoring the sacred feminine. I bring in rituals. We have a sense of just learning different practices to really work with that feminine power so that your life can be this sense of ease and grace as you step more and more into your power and into your dreams. And you can go through what is included. I include 3 in-person retreat days, in person in Sonoma County. All the different calls and the wisdom recordings and the private coaching. So it's a pretty wonderful program that I continue to feel honored to lead and to bring in women who are ready to have the support of the sisterhood and the soul guidance from me as a guide along the path. So in any of these parts where you press send me more info, you can enter your name, your info. When you press submit, it goes to a page where you can book a call with me, where you can learn more. I've really been thinking about what would be most valuable for you after this call, and the opportunity for you to share a little more about your own dreams and have one-on-one time with me, 45 minutes, to explore the possibility of joining us. That is an invitation for you today. I'm going to share that link in the chat box. And from there, you will also get the program guide. So when you sign up for a call, program guide automatically goes in your inbox. You can see the different payment plans. You can see everything that's included, the call dates, the call times, all of that. We have some of our guest mentor guides and finalizing some more guides right now. And yeah, I'm going to switch back into our regular chat. Oh, and Stephanie says, Sovereign Circle changed my life in so many ways, leaving my job, connecting more deeply with other women, and expert transformational coaching with Meredith. So highly recommend this experience. Thank you, Stephanie. It was so wonderful to have you. She was part of our first round of the Sovereign Circle. So I'm going to include this link. If you want to take a look at my calendar, calendly.com. And anyone that wants to just sign up right now, I have some spaces open tomorrow. I have some spaces open Saturday. And this month, I am actually stepping into one of my great dreams that I had no idea was going to happen this month. But I'm going to be going on a pilgrimage to Egypt for the next 2 weeks. And when I return, we'll be here to have more of these connection calls. We have a little bit of time. February 6th is when the program begins. So wonderful. Amber says, I'm signing up. Wonderful, Amber. Love to have you. So I'm going to go back and see what questions were here. Anyone that has more questions, we have a little bit of time to just work with questions. But Vicki says, what are some tips to notice that we are protecting those who feel triggered by us instead of supporting them? What are some tips to notice that we are protecting those? So I'll teach you a little bit about the green lens and the red lens. And this is something that my partner actually taught to me. He learned in a workshop he went to. And the red lens often can be how we see people, especially ones that are very close to us. We can see them as maybe not capable of doing the things. Whenever we catch ourselves like judging them or feeling like we have the answers and they don't have the answers, those are some signs that we might be seeing someone with a red lens. And to shift into what's called the green lens is to see someone with a new eyes of like, this person has his or her own answers. This person is capable of taking steps towards their dreams. This person is contributing to me right here and now. This person is a hero on his or her own journey. And really starting to see someone in that light can actually change how you interact with them, how they interact with you. So that's one piece that I just felt called to bring in with that. But different ways we may be protecting those who feel triggered by us. I think it's really just an awareness of when we are going into judgment or when we are seeing someone feeling like we have the answers and they don't. But rather just like holding them in that light of like, they can do this, they can take care of themselves. Let's see if there are any other questions. Oh, so Vanessa asked about the connection call. That is a space to sign up to have 45 minutes one-on-one with me. We will look at the places in your life where you've been feeling challenged, the places in your life of what dreams you're stepping into, the goals, the aspirations you're holding for this next year. I will offer you support, resources, anything that I can offer to you in that amount of time. And we can also explore the potential of joining for the Sovereign Circle. So you'll have a chance to more specifically ask me questions. We can have the time to really see if it feels aligned for you. You can ask questions about the payment plans and signing up and what that would look like. All of that is something that we can explore in the connection call. And so I just shared the link, thecalendly.com/Meredith Rom/connection call. And in order to sign up for the Sovereign Circle, I do want to personally speak with each woman and just make sure it's a good fit for everyone. So that is the pathway of, if you want to learn more about Sovereign Circle, you would sign up for a call. We have the chance to connect. And if it feels like something you want to move forward with, then I would send you the registration and the welcome questionnaire and all of that. So great. Okay, I'm glad that was helpful for you, Vicki. Any last questions? We're coming to a close with our time today. Any last shares or questions? You can put them right into the chat box. Thank you. Yeah, anything you're taking away from today? Anything you found valuable? Love to just hear that. Do you have any time for calls today? The Calendly doesn't have any today. I don't have it on the calendar, but Olivia, if you want to send me an email, meredith@meredithrom.com, and then I can connect with you personally. If you're not able to find a time on the calendar, just let me know and we can work something out. Yeah, it's just meredith@meredithrom.com. You're always welcome to email me there. Okay. Feather says, my heart is so happy to see you and hear your voice. Thank you for sharing and offering your amazing work to us all. Love you. Thank you, Feather. So great to have you here. Really great to see your voice. See your face. And soon I will probably hear your voice. Booked a call for January. Perfect. Yeah, we have the whole month of January to explore and for you to feel into this possibility. So with that, I think we will close today, and I will send out this recording so everyone will get the recording. You can come back and listen to different parts if there's anything you missed. And the recording will be up. I'll have it up for 1 week, so you can use it this week. Okay, so let's take a moment to centering in. Just offering the eyes closed, tuning into your heart, into your body, into your breath. Grounding into your seat, connecting with your inner queen. Feeling into your 2019, the essence of what you are creating. May you be fully guided on your path. May your soul guide you into the exact places, meeting the exact people, having all the resources and support you need to begin to step into greater and greater fulfillment. May we rise together in this supportive network of support, this sisterhood of women believing in their dreams and supporting each other and creating the most infinite potential and possibilities for our lives. May we continue to trust in our inner guidance and to walk our path with beauty, grace, and courage. I'll bring my hands to my heart and bow to all of you, beautiful sisters. Thank you for being here with me today. Sending you off with much love. Namaste. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to our show today. We would love to hear what you think. Take a moment to hop on over to iTunes and leave us a review. We'd be so grateful to receive it. Until next time, namaste.